In light of recent events, I want to tell you guys a story time about how I was forced to apologize for being pregnant in front of an entire church, subsequently kicked out, and told if I came back it would be criminal trespassing.
Hey beautiful people, how you all doing today? It's your girl Destiny here and welcome to my channel. How have you all been? Hope you guys are doing great. So this video is a video of a sister who came online to share a story of how when she was young at 18 and pregnant, the church that she was attending at that point in time brought her in front of the church to apologize to the church and call her a sinner. And she wanted to share a story about how this church is a cult and literally calling out the church out. But after a story went viral and all that, the church is out here sending her a cease and desist, trying to keep her short so that she doesn't mention their name anymore, saying that this young lady is harassing her and all that. But I really find this story really interesting because a couple of months ago, I did a story of a young girl that was pregnant and she was made to apologize in the church. But apparently, this is a very common story. A lot, there were young girls in their 18s, in their teens, getting pregnant, and the church kind of disgraced them by making them stand in front of the church, dehumanize them, embarrass them for them standing in front of the church to apologize to the congregation and to God, and then end up calling them a sinner when the same status is not being held to the man that gets this girl pregnant. Anyway, guys, let's go check out this lady's story and then we'll come back and talk more.
In light of recent events, I want to tell you guys a story time about how I was forced to apologize for being pregnant in front of an entire church, subsequently kicked out, and told if I came back it would be criminal trespassing. Year was circa 2009. I was 18 years old, fresh out of school, about to start college, chasing behind some little boy. I say church very loosely because it was really a cult, but he had been there for like 9 years, so he was good and indoctrinated at the time. It was summertime before we started college together, and his family was always at church, so of course I was at church too. I joined the church and everything, and one of the requirements to join the church is you have to do an interview with the pastor and the reverend. The reverend was the pastor's wife, and they ask you if you're a virgin, and I told them straight up, no baby, I am not. They asked me if I planned on being celibate, and I was like, not really. And let me tell y'all, from that point forward, they did not like my black ass because they had the youth unlocked. Everybody was celibate. Everybody had abstinence rings. They did not want my harlot ass in that church, but there I came. Their crowning achievement was the young man that I followed up in there. You hear me? He was a virgin at 18 years. They had had him for 9 years. They were their golden child. They did not want me there, but there I was. Anyway, I snatched that young man's virginity up the second we got to school, and I got pregnant the exact same day. Now, I took a plan B, but she must have ate it because a few weeks later, baby, positive pregnancy test, we were here. We ended up telling his mother, who was also very indoctrinated with the church at the time. She ends up telling the pastor. So one day after service, a few weeks into my pregnancy, they have everybody stay except for the kids. The kids get to go to the youth ministry. They have everybody else stay. Now, for additional context, y'all have to understand, these people did not like me because I came in asking way too many questions. Like, for one, why are y'all collecting tithes 3 times per service when it's the same group of people in there? Or about how y'all collected $1 million for a new church because y'all been in a storefront plaza for the last few years. You finally get the money up and then the deal doesn't go through and all the money is gone and people have to re-raise the money. I was like, that feels like embezzlement. Again, they did not like me. Okay, so boom, this is after service. The kids have gone away and they have me and homeboy stand up. And basically he tells the entire church, we have a sinner amongst us. He goes on to tell the church that I have done the highest level of sin by having premarital sex and conceiving a child, and he wants me to apologize to him, the church, and God before everybody. The homeboy that had been to the church, he apologized. I looked at them people like they were crazy for like a solid 5 minutes, because if you think I'm apologizing for creating life, apologizing to y'all, you got me up. Furthermore, I didn't even know there was a sin scale while he was standing up there in his cheap polyester blend suit, Leviticus 19:19, or when his daughter was in his office giving head to the youth ministers, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, when they finally let me up out that, I ran to the side of the church and I called my mother. My mother was about 45 minutes away. She got to that bitch in 20 minutes. Now, what I didn't say is while they were up there shaming me and Buddy for having a baby, they had a deacon that had 2 women pregnant at the exact same time, and they knew it when it happened, but coincidentally, he didn't get called out in the same fashion. I wonder why. Anyway, my mother came up there ready to knock shit down, but he refused to come out of the office. He literally had like his deacons creating a barrier to his office, but we was up there nutting up. I was about to call the news. It was about to be a whole situation, but we decided to just let it go because I was 18, pregnant. I had a lot going on already, but baby, it was finna be some problems. A few days later, I got a letter that said if I came up there, it would be criminal trespassing and I would no longer allowed to come because I would not follow the Lord's counsel. Anyway, because God don't play about me, their church started going downhill real fast. People started leaving left and right after this incident. You hear me? They tried to get my baby daddy to renounce the child and say that it wasn't his or what have you. He refused. They kicked him out too. At one point, they wanted me to have the child so that they could adopt my kid out to some people in the church that were infertile or some bullshit. I don't know what happened. Anyway, I had a very strong sense of self and I was very comfortable with my relationship with God. So none of that really impacted me like that to this day. But my mother still gets pissed off. She wants to catch a fade with that man to this day. She cannot stand him. They are actually still open. They actually finally did get a location. I will name drop if y'all want to know. I have so many more stories about that church. And honestly, that's not even the only church I've ever been kicked out of and told not to come back. So if y'all want to hear those stories, let me know in the comments below. Until next time, toodles. Well, hello everybody. This is the update to the story about the pastor who made me stand up before the entire church and apologize for being pregnant. And yes, I will be dropping names in this video. But first, if we're going to do a call out video, we're going to do it the right way. And we're going to make sure your anger is directed at the right place and the right people. First order of action, if you guys decide to write a review, y'all know Google will just simply take them down. So what I want you to do is, in your reviews, I want you to call the members of the church away. I want you to tell them that they are loved away from that church. I want you to tell them that they don't need that pastor to be happy. I want you to speak life into them because those are the people that's going to read those reviews. Second order of action, I want you to go to the Secretary of State's website once you find out the name of who they are, and I want you to file a complaint under the charity division. We want them funds investigated, y'all. This is how you make real change. We go after them pockets. These reviews are not going to stick. Google's going to take them out, but stuff like this, someone's going to follow up if enough people make noise. And last order of action, if you decide to comment on any of their social medias, I want you to be positive. I want you to call the members in. Again, speak love, light, and everything into the members so that they don't feel the need to stay beside that pastor and his wife. All right, now let's get into the story. So since I posted that video yesterday, several former members of the church have come forward and they have said they've been waiting to speak their turn. So they look forward to stitching this current video and telling their story as well. So this isn't even the end, y'all. The tea is going to keep getting hot. Now, stuff that I experienced personally, I'm just going to say, but anything that anyone else told me, I'm going to say allegedly because I'm telling y'all they're going to send me a cease and desist. They are coming for my ass when I post this. Okay, so the name of this church is Family Life Baptist Church. They are located in Fayetteville, Georgia. This is their Google page. I need y'all to make sure y'all are targeting the right place because there are multiple Family Life churches out there. The pastor's name is Alfred Lands and the wife's name is Rosemary Lands. I'm going to get into some of my own experiences because they were relatively mild in comparison to what other things people have told me. So I told you guys about how I questioned why they had a new building fund. Well, the reason I questioned that is there used to be a big picture where you could see the goal and how much money everyone had made, and every time a deal fell through with the real estate, they just started it over. So I remember asking that question out in the office. They pulled me into the office and admonished me for questioning where the money went. Another time I was walking into the church, and I guess the pastor wasn't too far behind me because a deacon came running up behind me to open the door for the pastor. They then scolded me for not opening the door for him, and I was just like, he's a man. And they were like, a man of God that's not allowed to touch doors. Oh. Now, remember my mother-in-law, who was fully indoctrinated at the time, she wasn't even allowed to celebrate her birthday because her birthday was on the same day as the pastor's. They did not allow her to celebrate her birthday because she had to set up his birthday every year. For 9 years, this woman did not celebrate her birthday, and they did not let her. If you left the church, you were immediately excommunicated. The other members were not allowed to talk to you, and members of the church were not allowed to date and or get married unless they got permission from the pastor and the reverend. I need y'all to keep in mind while I'm telling this story, these people were in a cult, and if you look up what a cult is, they were literally being brainwashed. What I experienced was not unique. Shame was a very useful weapon for them. At one point, the pastor forced this young man to come out in front of the male ministry and forced his mother to legally change his name because he felt like his mother gave him too feminine of a name. Now we're going to move into the place where I have to start saying allegedly. Allegedly, a minister there molested several young girls, so much so that he had to be fired from his place of work, and the pastor and the reverend had to come up there and defend him and somehow get that put under the rug. Again, allegedly. Allegedly, any behavior that they viewed as demonic would absolutely lead to an exorcism, and an exorcism looked like you getting beat the shit out of, and that could be for anything from being gay to misbehaving in school. Allegedly, there were ministers that touched both boys and girls. Allegedly, there was tons of embezzlement with the use of forged documents, fake bank statements, and tax documents, all with money that was siphoned directly from their members. Again, allegedly. Now, I know I'm saying allegedly to protect myself legally, but just know I would never bring these sort of claims forward if I did not have evidence. All that said, in the last video, I got a lot of questions about why I would even join a church under false pretenses if I didn't agree with them, and also what my current relationship is with the church and spirituality and all that. And I'll do a follow-up video for that, because like I said, this video is going to be stitched by multiple members of the church. They've already come forward and said that they have something to say, so I'm going to leave that space for them. So until next time, you guys, toodles. Y'all, they're gonna send me a cease and desist. They are coming for my ass when I post this, and they absolutely did. Your girl got served today. So let me tell you guys the story about how the pastor and his wife that forced me to apologize in front of the church for being pregnant when I was 18 has now tried to file a temporary protective order against me so that I will no longer speak about my experience. I was served this morning, and court is coincidentally tomorrow on Valentine's Day. Yes, I got served less than 24 hours before the court date, but nevertheless, I went ahead and filed my answer today. I surely did. Now, notice how I said a temporary protective order and not a lawsuit for defamation or slander. It is of my personal belief that they went this route because the barrier to entry is much lower than had they tried to sue me in court for defamation or slander, because then they'd have to prove what I was saying was a lie. To get a temporary protective order is fairly easy. All you have to do is say, hey, I feel threatened, and they're pretty easy to get, particularly if people don't answer. And I'm assuming they didn't think I would have time to answer, but your girl spent the entire day getting her story together, having the evidence together, and it is filed, and I will be seeing them in court tomorrow. In this order, they are alleging that I am harassing them, and they want my videos removed, and for me to no longer be allowed to speak about them in the future and to stay away from them. I have not had any direct or indirect contact with these people in well over a decade, so I don't know how I can stay any further away from them than I have, and I'm allowed to talk about my experience. It's freedom of speech. So if these magically go down, then I can't fathom. But if they do, make sure you save all of the videos. Make sure you stitch them. Make sure you tell your stories and use mine as well. We're not letting them get away with trying to use a TPO as a gag order. We're not playing those games today. Now, why they would do all this a month after the story went viral and most people had lost interest is beyond me. But there's something called the Barbara Streisand effect, and I want you to look into it. But long story short, Barbara Streisand did not want a particular photo of her house out in the public. So she threatened the photographer with a lawsuit, and bada bing, now everybody knows about it. Millions more people found that photo than they did before she ever tried to do the lawsuit. And I feel like that's exactly what's happening here. People had lost interest, babes. People wasn't checking for it no more. The story went viral. Everybody went on. The story continued. Another pastor gets away with doing harm, but then you did this. Anyway, so I can't give you guys all the details, but I just know that I have plenty of evidence to corroborate my stories, and I'm going to come fully prepared for court tomorrow. That said, I do look forward to the opportunity to just simply share my story in a courtroom setting, regardless of which way it goes. I really hope that the judge orders in my favor and doesn't make me shut up and not talk about my experience. But just in case that does happen, I did want to go ahead and get this video out tonight. I hope that it does go viral while I'm sleeping. And also, I don't know what I'm going to wear tomorrow. Since it's Valentine's Day, I'm thinking about wearing like pink as an homage to Legally Blonde or something like that, or and because it's Valentine's Day, or go corporate baddie. I'm not sure. You guys let me know in the comments which should I go. Should I go Legally Blonde or corporate baddie? But either way, I'm coming to tell my story, and I look forward to telling you guys all about it tomorrow. Until next time, toodles.
Okay, it's time for me to talk about it. I know I'm crying today, but that young girl in the church, the way she was treated was wrong. Let me give y'all a story. Irvin. Okay. Before Irvin, I had a son. I have a son. Well, he passed. Rain Rico. And I couldn't tell nobody that I was pregnant because I was scared. I was 17 years old and in high school. So I finally told my mama. She accepted it. And back in the days, they would tell you when you getting pregnant without being married, the child is considered a bastard child, which is a hurting thing. And yes, I was in the holiness church as well. Went to church all the time with my auntie. We stayed in church. Saturdays, we packed the lunch, and that's where we stayed in church. So when I got pregnant with Irvin, I already made the mistake the way I felt with Rico. So of course I can't tell that I'm pregnant again in high school with Irvin. So I hid it. And one night, I was so angry. I had to wear long, big shirts and different things to disguise myself because I didn't want to bring this so-called bastard child into my family, because that's what they call them. So I hid it. And my mama went to work one night, and I was sitting in my mama's den, I remember. And Rico went to sit on me, and my water bust, and my mama boyfriend was there, and I told him, I said, could you, I wouldn't tell him I was pregnant. I said, could you take me to the hospital? I hadn't had no prenatal care because I couldn't tell nobody. So they took me to the hospital. He took me to the hospital. I knew I was delivering, and Irvin wasn't quite 7 months. So we got in went up to the nurse, and I told her, I said, I'm having a baby. I didn't even look pregnant because I was trying to hide it. So, and she says, no. She says, I says, I'm having a baby. And she says, no. I says, yes, I am. I'm having a baby. And she says, well, what's going on? I said, I feel like I'm getting ready to push this baby out. So she looked and she says, you're having a baby. And she put me in a wheelchair to get me upstairs. And I had Irvin in the elevator of the hospital. Okay, I could have broke Irvin's neck because I was sitting in the chair at the time I was having a baby. Then I had him early. The reason why I had him early because I was under so much stress because I couldn't tell my mom and I couldn't tell nobody that I was pregnant. And when I tell y'all, that haunts me to the day. See my face? That haunts me to the day. So, I'm going to tell you something, Pastor, you so-called pastor. That what you said and did to that girl is wrong. Because when you said she couldn't have a baby shower and she was so evil from having a baby, I guess, that's going to haunt that girl the rest of her life. And to the girl, hold your head up, sweetheart. Get your good education. Take care of yourself and take care of your baby. Because I'm going to tell you something. Don't end up like me and regret what I did for the rest of my life because I kept it secret. And I want all young girls to understand when you're pregnant, talk about it. Because the same people who talking about you and putting you down, if they're not lifting you up now, they're not going to lift you up as you go. And I just want to say, shame on you, Pastor. Shame on you. Thank you all for watching that video I made about the girl that was pregnant at church and the pastor had her to get up and apologize. I want to say this. If I didn't have Irvin, I want you all to first, when you have time, stop and start looking at the videos of Irvin. The majority of the videos on here is about Irvin. And look how God has blessed me with such a wonderful person. And even though I cry and I protect Irvin, it's because I feel I should protect him because of what we went through in order for me to have him. He's my blessing. And I want Irvin to be a blessing to you all. Watch his videos and I want you all to smile. And I want y'all to know that don't care what happened in life, you never know who God sent here and sent on this earth as a blessing. Take care and please follow us, share, and like Irvin's videos. Thank you all.
Please go ahead down in the comment section, share your thoughts. I really love to know what you guys think. What are your thoughts down in the comment section? Have you ever been in a church settings like this where a lot of things are being controlled? Go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. Love to know what you think. But please, as always, be respectful. You're on this channel. We're allowed to disagree, but we do it in a very respectful way. So go ahead, feel free, share your thoughts. So yeah, it's my own. When it comes to the church, this is not even just my take. When it comes to the church, I feel like there's a lot of atrocity that's happened in the church, especially for us millennials that grew up at the time where religion in the black community was something else, especially in Nigeria, especially in this thing. I've had an incident. I don't know. I've told you guys the story. I've had a pastor that told my mom out the cause of a problem, a cause of the struggle she was going through at that particular time, where it was just life that was happening to my mom at that time. But that pastor looked at my mom and told him that a little girl who was barely like 5, 6 years old was the cause of a problem, that she was a witch, and that little girl is is this girl right here. And maybe those are the things that probably made me who I am today. But growing up first, and I've seen how manipulative the church can be and how controlling the church can be, and how most of these so-called men of God feels like they are help here. If you guys don't know, before I continue go on talking, I personally, I don't believe in religion. Okay, I believe in God. I don't believe in religion, and I don't believe any human being is more special than any human being. We are all very special. We're all, God loves all of us. God is here to direct us and give us signs and minister to us, speak to us, whatever way. So I don't believe in one person has the blessing, one person is anointed. Each and every one of us is anointed. I am anointed. Go ask my family, go ask my friends. I'm a blessing in their life. So that to say, this saying how the church has worked and how the church naturally panders to men, coming from a woman that is centering herself, really panders to men, and most of the ideology is for men. Most times when you see these things happen, the men don't face the consequences of these actions. Like this lady that was telling a story of how she slept, she was with the boy, she got pregnant and all that. Yes, they allowed the boy to, but most of the burden and the cursing and the you're indecent will go to her because she's the woman, she's the girl. And these are some of the things that forms my ideology as a young girl growing up in the church, where I asked a lot of questions. I personally am not in support. Like, I wish that even younger girls will not get themselves involved. Not that, see, sex is a beautiful thing. Nobody should even tell me sex is a beautiful thing. And it's not as if I'm bashing, but I really don't. It's not my wish. It's not my wish generally to wish that young girls or even women will get pregnant unplanned or unprepared. I know that you guys know how I feel about having kids, being a mom. I know that you guys already know. So not that I'm praising the art of children getting pregnant and all that, no, but it's the way the church will handle it, that form of disgrace, because they are the holy ones, you are the one with sin, so they are going to launch you out. I did a video a couple of months ago of the little girl that was pregnant, and the pastor made her to stand on the pulpit to apologized to the church, where the man, whoever impregnated this little girl, was never called to do the same. And a lot of the time when you look into the church, which is first, and I'm talking from experience, when you look into the church, there's a lot of predators there that are preying on younger girls, younger children out there that are just there to abuse them. And rather than the so-called holy people in the church, which most of the time is still this holy people that commits this acts, this atrocity, rather than them checking things like that and calling things in like that into order, rather they will go around shaming little girls for making, I'll say it's a mistake, because they're little girls, they're children that are being, like, even a girl that is 18, for me personally, it's been preyed on. Like, honestly, that's how I feel. Even if she's been preyed on, there's something off there for her to be in that place where she longs to be with a man. There's something off in the family, rather than to talk about all this trauma and dysfunctional homes that's leading a lot of young people, young girls, to go out there to seek for that love and attention out there, which ended them up getting pregnant, because sometimes they get pregnant for their age mates. She's 18, he's 18, like all that, all being boy crazy and all that, rather than try to fix those issues by letting young girls know that they can center themselves and there's nothing wrong with being alone. Rather, they're going to holify themselves and then talk down and push down on them. So yeah, I do appreciate people that are speaking up and sharing their story all over the internet concerning a lot of issues, because I feel some of these issues should be up online and keep on talking about it. Anyway, guys, please go ahead down in the comment section, share your thoughts. Love to know what you think about this video down in the comment section. But as always, keep it respectful. Share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's all we do here. We have banging conversation. So go on and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push out my content for more people to see, and that'll be you supporting this channel and this girl here. So go on and do that. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.